Chosen one, this message is not reaching you by accident. Something has shifted recently, and deep within, you've sensed it. You made a move that was guided by wisdom rather than impulse, obedience rather than fear, clarity rather than confusion. The result is that forces that once underestimated you have now taken notice. This is not a reason for panic, and it is certainly not a reason to shrink back. It is a signal that growth has occurred, awareness has increased, and ground has been taken. When progress becomes undeniable, resistance often reacts, not because it is powerful, but because it has been exposed. Before anything else, let this settle in your spirit. Advancement always reveals what was hidden. When light increases, anything that depended on darkness loses its advantage. Many people think opposition shows up before victory, but more often it appears after forward movement. You did not stumble into insight by chance. You listened when it would have been easier to ignore. You moved when delay felt safer, and you trusted God's leading even when the outcome was not fully clear. That choice alone changed the environment around you. This is why the pressure feels different now. It is not random, and it is not a sign that you missed God. In fact, it is often the opposite. Throughout history, those who walked closely with divine guidance found that clarity disrupted established patterns. When plans rooted in deception were brought into the open, reactions followed. Not because truth is weak, but because exposure removes leverage. What once worked quietly no longer does. If you've noticed sudden tension, unexpected resistance, emotional noise, or attempts to distract you from your focus, understand this clearly. Awareness has shifted the balance. You are not being warned to retreat, you are being instructed to stay alert and grounded. Wisdom does not announce itself loudly, but its effects are unmistakable. When discernment grows, confusion loses its grip. When alignment deepens, interference becomes obvious. This is where many people misunderstand spiritual conflict. They assume it is dramatic, chaotic, or overwhelming. In reality, it often shows up as subtle pressure to doubt your progress, to second-guess your decisions, or to abandon consistency. The goal is rarely to stop you outright. It is to slow you down just enough to regain lost advantage. That is why timing matters now. Not timing rooted in anxiety, but timing rooted in obedience. Think of those in history who advanced quietly under divine direction. They did not rush recklessly, yet they did not hesitate when clarity came. When opposition realized it had been outpaced, it reacted emotionally, not strategically. The people who stayed steady were the ones who understood that awareness is protection. They fortified what they had built, remained focused on their assignment, and refused to be pulled into unnecessary battles. Chosen one, you are not called to fight everything. You are called to remain aligned. Alignment keeps you ahead. When your inner life stays anchored in truth, external pressure loses its influence. This is why guarding your peace matters so much right now. Not peace as comfort, but peace as stability. The kind that allows you to think clearly, pray effectively, and move intentionally. If you are listening closely, you may recognize that this season requires maturity more than force. You do not need to announce your next step. You do not need to explain your progress to everyone. You do not need to react to every challenge. Wisdom often looks like restraint paired with readiness. It knows when to move and when to remain quiet. It understands that strength does not need constant proof. At this point in the journey, reflection becomes a powerful tool. Ask yourself gently, what changed recently? What decision did you make that brought clarity? Where did your confidence deepen? Where did resistance appear afterward? These questions are not meant to stir fear, but to sharpen awareness. When you understand the pattern, you stop personalizing the pressure. If this message is speaking directly to where you are, engage with it. Let it ground you. Let it remind you that you are not behind and you are not unprotected. Share your thoughts in the comments, not as a confession of struggle, but as a declaration of awareness. And if you want to continue walking this path with consistent encouragement and insight, stay connected to this channel. You are not walking alone, and this journey is far from over. When awareness increases, reactions follow. But reactions are rarely thoughtful. They are emotional, rushed, and driven by loss of control. This is why you must not misinterpret resistance as intelligence. Many people assume that if something pushes back, it must be strong. In truth, pushback often happens when influence has already been weakened. What you are sensing now is not a balanced contest, it is a response to exposure. Something that depended on you staying unaware can no longer operate freely. History gives us clear patterns. Whenever a person aligned with divine wisdom stepped into clarity, those who relied on manipulation responded with agitation. Their plans collapsed not because of physical force, but because truth disrupted timing and leverage. When motives were revealed, authority shifted. This is how wisdom wins without noise. It does not chase enemies, it outlasts them. It does not react impulsively, it remains positioned. Right now, the greatest temptation is distraction, not obvious temptation, but subtle redirection, small emotional pulls, minor conflicts that seem urgent but carry no real purpose. A sense that you must explain yourself, defend your choices, or prove your intentions. These impulses are not coming from strength, they come from loss of advantage. If you engage them carelessly, you give attention to things that do not deserve access to your energy. This is where spiritual maturity becomes essential. Growth is not only about learning how to advance, it is about learning what to ignore. Discernment teaches you that not every voice requires a response, and not every challenge requires confrontation. Some situations resolve themselves when deprived of your focus. Others fade when you refuse to abandon your assignment. Consider those who rebuilt under pressure in ancient times. They continued their work even while facing mockery, intimidation, and psychological strain. They did not pause their progress to argue with critics. They strengthened what they were building and remained alert without becoming anxious. That balance is key for you now. Stay aware, but do not become reactive. Stay prepared, but do not become restless. This is also the season to deepen intimacy with God, not as a routine, but as a strategy. Closeness sharpens perception. When your inner life is aligned, you sense when something is off long before it becomes obvious. You recognize patterns instead of isolated incidents. You move with insight rather than assumption. This is how you remain steps ahead without forcing outcomes. Pay attention to how wisdom develops through testing. Delays you once questioned may now make sense. Detours that felt frustrating may have protected you. What seemed like resistance earlier may have actually refined your discernment. Nothing was wasted. Each challenge trained you to listen more closely, move more deliberately, and trust guidance beyond surface-level understanding. If you are noticing that your thinking has become clearer, your reactions calmer, and your confidence quieter, that is growth. It means you are no longer driven by impulse. It means you are learning to respond from alignment rather than emotion. This kind of inner stability unsettles anything that relies on chaos or fear. Calm is threatening to confusion. Midway through this message, take a moment to reflect. Where have you grown wiser recently? What situations no longer trigger the reactions they once did? What voices have lost influence over your decisions? These are signs of progress. Share one insight in the comments. Your testimony may steady someone else who is still learning how to stand firm. Understand this clearly. Increased resistance does not mean increased danger. It often means reduced access. When influence weakens, pressure rises briefly, then fades if it finds no opening. That is why guarding your inner life matters so much right now. What you allow into your thoughts determines what can shape your direction. You are not required to rush, but you are called to remain intentional. Momentum is built through consistent obedience, not frantic action. Stay anchored in prayer. Stay grounded in truth. Stay connected to people who sharpen your clarity rather than drain it. Isolation weakens perception, but wise connection strengthens resolve. If this message is helping you see your season more clearly, stay engaged with this channel. This community exists to support growth, not hype fear. You are part of something purposeful, and your journey is unfolding with precision. At this stage, strengthening your inner defenses is not about fear. It is about stewardship. You guard what matters. You secure what carries value. What God has placed within you is worth protecting, not because it is fragile, but because it is effective. Awareness without protection leads to exhaustion, but awareness paired with wisdom produces endurance. One of the most overlooked aspects of spiritual strength is emotional discipline. Many openings are not created by wrongdoing, but by unmanaged emotions. Offense, disappointment, pride, and impatience can quietly create access points that wisdom would otherwise seal. This is why forgiveness is not optional at this level. It is not about excusing others. It is about denying them influence over your inner world. When resentment lingers, clarity weakens. When forgiveness flows, perception sharpens. Another area that requires attention is agreement. What you repeatedly say about yourself, your future, and your situation shapes the atmosphere around you. Words are not empty. They establish direction. This does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It means aligning your speech with truth rather than fear. Speak in ways that reinforce purpose. Speak with confidence rooted in trust, not arrogance. Silence is also powerful when words would only scatter focus. This is also the time to be intentional about spiritual covering. Strength grows in alignment. You were never meant to walk alone, especially during seasons of visibility and progress. Seek connection with a small number of people who value prayer, honesty, and accountability. Not everyone needs access to your plans. Wisdom chooses companions carefully. The right connections do not compete, they reinforce. They do not drain, they sharpen. As you move forward, speed must be paired with discernment. Acting quickly does not mean acting impulsively. It means responding without delay once clarity is given. Prolonged hesitation often disguises itself as caution, but sometimes it is simply fear wearing responsible language. When direction is clear, obedience should be timely. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence weakens opposition. This is especially important concerning your God-given dreams. Many people delay action until conditions feel ideal. Rarely does that moment arrive. Growth often happens while learning, adjusting, and moving forward simultaneously. Start where you are. Take the next step that is available now. Progress itself creates protection because it reduces stagnation. When you move forward with purpose, distractions lose leverage. Ask yourself honestly, what have you been postponing that you already have clarity about? Is it a conversation, a project, a commitment, or a decision? Write it down, pray over it, then act with intention. Small steps taken consistently carry more power than grand ideas left untouched. Midway through this part, engage with the message. What area of your life requires decisive movement right now? Share one word in the comments that represents your next step. This is not about pressure, it is about alignment. As you strengthen your inner life, remain alert but peaceful. Anxiety does not increase preparedness, it reduces perception. Peace keeps your mind clear and your spirit responsive. When challenges arise, you will recognize them quickly without becoming overwhelmed. This is the posture of someone who trusts guidance beyond surface-level control. Remember, resistance does not define your future, obedience does. You are advancing not because you are clever alone, you are advancing because you are aligned. That alignment attracts insight, timing, and support you could not manufacture on your own. Stay rooted in prayer, not as a ritual, but as communication. Listen as much as you speak. Often, the next instruction comes quietly, not dramatically. If this message is strengthening you, stay connected. Like, share, and subscribe so others who are navigating similar seasons can find encouragement. Growth multiplies when truth is shared. You are not behind. You are not exposed. You are not unprepared. You are becoming more grounded, more aware, and more effective with each step forward. What remains now is not urgency driven by fear, but confidence anchored in trust. When you reach this stage, you stop reacting and start ruling your space. You no longer wake up wondering what might go wrong. You wake up grounded in who walks with you. This is the reward of alignment. You are not chasing safety, you are walking in authority. Long-term victory is maintained by consistency, not intensity. Many people win moments and then lose momentum because they only prepare for battles, not for stewardship after the battle. But you are being trained to govern progress. That means keeping healthy rhythms even when things are going well. Continue prayer even when answers arrive. Continue discipline even when results show. Continue humility even when recognition comes. Stability keeps you ahead. One of the clearest signs of maturity is restraint. You will not feel the need to explain yourself to everyone. You will not rush to defend your growth. You will not chase validation. Confidence rooted in God does not need noise. It moves quietly and produces loudly. Let outcomes speak. Let peace remain your evidence. From this point forward, your focus must shift from survival to expansion. Not expansion driven by ego, but expansion guided by assignment. Ask regularly, where am I meant to add value now? Who benefits from my obedience? Purpose grows when it is poured out, not stored away. When you bless others with what you've learned, your own capacity increases. There will still be challenges, but they will not carry the same weight. What once shook you will now inform you. What once delayed you will now refine you. This does not mean life becomes effortless. It means you become established. Established people do not panic when pressure appears. They adjust, pray, and proceed. Guard your mind against nostalgia. Do not keep revisiting past battles to reassure yourself that you survived. Honor the growth and move forward. Looking back too often can slow momentum. Gratitude is healthy, fixation is not. Celebrate progress, then keep building. This is also a season to invest wisely, time, energy, and attention. Not every opportunity deserves a yes. Not every voice deserves access. Discernment will help you recognize what strengthens you and what simply distracts. Choose depth over volume. Choose purpose over popularity. Choose peace over approval. If you feel a quiet confidence settling in, that is not coincidence, it is confirmation. You are positioned, not rushed. You are alert, not anxious. You are protected, not hiding. This balance allows you to walk forward without constantly checking behind you. Now, let this message move beyond listening into action. Write down one habit you will commit to maintaining this month that protects your spiritual strength. Then, write down one step you will take this week toward a goal you've been carrying. Action seals revelation. As we close, remember this. They may have noticed your progress, but they cannot stop your purpose. What you are building is covered by obedience, sustained by wisdom, and strengthened by trust. Stay grounded, stay moving, stay connected. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to remain part of this growing faith-driven community. In the comments, write "outsmarted and established" as a declaration of where you stand now. You are not reacting anymore. You are advancing with clarity. You are not defending progress. You are sustaining it. You are not guessing your next step. You are walking it out. This is the chosen star, where purpose is strengthened, faith is activated, and destiny is pursued with courage. Stay ready. Stay grounded. Your path is secure.